everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Crazy Tech Reviews. Now in today's episode, you guys probably have seen my 3.5 part, I guess you could say. Oh shoot, that was no, it wasn't. Episode on restoring my Macintosh Plus, which I just finished not too long ago. This is probably one of the longest series we've ever done in the channel. But anyway, I figured that now that I've gotten my second Macintosh up and running, as of the time of purchase, this is my second machine, compact Mac. I figured it's time now that we do the best that we can to get probably one of the more special machines I own fixed up. Now, the reason this machine is so special to me is this was first of all my first real retro computer, like my first classic retro computer, I guess you could say. And this is also kind of the machine that got me interested in collecting all these other machines that you see throughout my channel. So this is kind of like the very first one I ever got. I've had this for almost over 3 years now, so it's pretty special. And I've never seen this thing ever turn on. Well, the most I can say I've seen it turn on was a simple beep. That's pretty much it. Other than that, I've never seen anything on this machine work. The CRT was broken in shipping, and the floppy drive was non-functional when I received it. So, anyway, with that said, I guess we'll go ahead and get right into this. Now, the good news is, is basically, my parents wanted me to get this machine working as well, and now that I have my Macintosh Plus working, and so basically they ordered for me, I obviously confirmed to make sure they were the right parts. We just sent an order request in a few hours ago for, off of retrotechnology.com, the same site I used to get parts for the Macintosh Plus. We sent in a request for the new CRT, which was broken in shipping, which is why I never got to see this machine work, and a new floppy drive. This machine does have a hard drive, and I'm not sure what's on it, or if there is anything on it, or if it's even working at all now. I'm pretty sure it is, as this machine was bought in working condition as far as I'm concerned, but anyway, with that said, I guess we'll go ahead and plug it in to power and see what we get. I'm hoping that we can get a beep.
Alright, so the first thing I did before I got to work on this machine was test the machine out to make sure it worked somewhat without the CRT. When I turned it on, I heard this terrible noise as if I just stepped on a rat or something, so I prepared to, continued to investigate in the system to figure out what was causing the noise. You do need a really long T15 screwdriver, though, to get inside the system, as the screws in the handle are really deep down. And I will say, though, the back panel in this machine, or back case, was definitely harder to remove than on the Macintosh Plus, due to the shape of the machine.
Alright, so something I'd like to mention real quick before we get started here is that I did end up having to reshoot this clip right now because my camera wasn't filming during probably the most important part of the entire clip, so that's kind of unfortunate. But anyway, just to update you guys, this is not the CRT that was in here. This is the broken one that from my Mac Plus that I accidentally broke a few days ago. So I just went ahead and put this in here so that as a placeholder, so that I could have this all plugged in, so that none of this got damaged or damaged anything else from shaking around inside the computer. This is the tube that was originally in the system. As you can see, the entire neck was broken completely off by FedEx, or whoever's, no, not FedEx, UPS. FedEx is actually relatively decent when shipping these machines, so good job to them. But UPS completely broke the entire stock off the CRT, or whatever it's called, neck. I'm pretty sure this was UPS. If not that, I'm sorry, but yeah. Somebody broke this tube completely. And I've never ever seen this machine actually turn on ever. I've heard it beep, but that's about it. I've never seen anything else but a beep. So, anyway, what I took it apart for is I'm going to try to figure out what what is causing that annoying sound as if you stepped on like 200 rats or something. I was able to notice the camera was not filming, thankfully, though, before I got to that point. So anyway, I'm going to start by unplugging the hard drive because, yeah.
Alright, so at this point we have currently ruled out the hard drive as a possible suspect for that terrible noise we were hearing earlier. However, I'm still unsure whether it's the floppy drive or the fan that's causing it, so with that, I guess I'll go ahead and quickly unplug the floppy drive connector and then turn the machine on, and sure enough, with the floppy drive unplugged, I didn't hear it. So I know now that I definitely was a good idea to order a new floppy drive for me. However, currently the machine was really dirty. As you can see, there's all kinds of nicks and scuffs all over the machine. There's also a really big crack out of the bottom corner of the machine. I'm not sure what this is from, probably from being dropped somehow and shipping. And also in the handle and stuff, there's so much gunk from it sitting in my closet for several years while I haven't been working on it. And even in the vents too. So alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and unscrew the screws in the machine again, because I have to disassemble it now to clean the panel pieces. Basically, I'm just going to take the machine entirely apart to where there's nothing but the bare case pieces. We'll go ahead and disconnect the CRT and the hard disk and the power to the hard disk as well as the floppy disk. Go ahead and show it. We'll go ahead and unscrew and remove the analog board, which was fairly simple to do. And then after getting that situated, we'll go ahead and unconnect the anode cap. I'm also going to remove that RAM expansion card so I can get the motherboard out, as that prevents the motherboard from being removed otherwise. And we'll go ahead and unscrew and remove the disk drive caddy. Next up, we'll go ahead and unscrew the CRT, and this is what it looks like. This is actually the CRT from my Macintosh Plus, as the CRT that was in the machine originally is in very bad condition and was completely busted by UPS or whichever shipping service shipped this thing. Anyway, with that unscrewed, I'll go ahead and remove 4 more screws that are holding the chassis itself in. There were 5 screws in the Macintosh Pluses, so that's interesting. This also holds in the fan, so that won't need to be removed separately. We'll go ahead and unclip the 2 clips that are holding this on, which were also not present at the Mac Plus, and now I'll go ahead and glue, super glue on the little chunk of plastic that was just kind of hanging loose for the entire 3 years I've had this machine. And with that glued back in, I'll go ahead and clean it off with some rubbing alcohol, just to get all those scuffs off. I might come back later with baking soda if it's necessary. Also, I went ahead and tried to file out some of those nicks, and it did work really well. I also went across the front of it with the file to kind of smooth it out there too. And I also did the front piece as well, because it had probably just as many nicks on it as the back did. And here's what the back case piece looks like after cleaning it. For example, this is one of the better cases I've had with spraying the case down, because this is what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like after. As you can see, it looks almost brand new now. However, there are still a few residual scuffs, so I'm just going to go ahead and use some baking soda on the machine. Basically, this removes just general grit as well as a few scuffs. For those of you who are new to my channel, basically I just take a bit of baking soda and water and then scrub around the machine until I'm satisfied with the results, and then I spray the baking soda off either in the sink or outside, since it's a nice day today, so I did it outside. Next up, after cleaning the case pieces, I went ahead and checked the logic board for leaking caps. These 90s Macs are notorious for leaking caps, and it's best that you replace them as soon as possible if you can.
However, since I do not have the correct capacitors at the moment to replace the caps on that board or to recap the board, I probably won't do that at the moment. However, please do recap your 90s Mac boards as soon as possible, because if you don't, those capacitors will leak everywhere. And so I probably shortly after this video will be recapping that entire board probably, or sometime in the very near future. Also, another thing, if you can, please remove the batteries from the motherboards, because those will also leak all over the board and corrode traces. And if they're left or if they're not removed for long enough, then the board could be completely corroded in some cases in that area. So be sure to clean up or recap your boards and remove the batteries as soon as possible. So anyway, with that said, we'll get back to the video.
Alright, so the next thing I was going to try to do is get rid of some of the rust that you can see here on the chassis of the machine. This was really deep down, so I started scratching at it with a wire brush, and that didn't seem to do too much after a few minutes of scrubbing with it, so I moved on to an SOS pad, or otherwise known as steel wool, and even that didn't work, so I ended up having to move on to a sanding pad, which also, it did do some progress, but it didn't work good, so I switched to something even more aggressive, which is sandpaper. And finally, after like 10 minutes of sanding it down with some sandpaper, I got it to look slightly better, so that's good, I guess. But I will say, this is definitely the deepest rust I've ever seen on the computer. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and repair the yanked off fan connector that's supposed to be on the analog board, but I accidentally yanked it off ages ago. This is what it looks like. It's just a very simple connector. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and remove all the special little clips on the analog board that hold the plastic insulation sheet onto the back of it. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and lift it right off of that, and this is what it looks like. The little plastic piece that protects you from high voltage electronics, although the board is discharged, so I'm not worried about that. As you can see, those were the solder joints that the connector is supposed to connect to, so we'll go ahead and desolder the extra solder from that, insert the connector, and apply some more solder to it to finish the job. After applying some new solder to it, I went ahead and wiped off the area with some isopropyl alcohol to remove any extra flux, and there's the finished connector. There are also some other broken traces or joints on the board, so I'll go ahead and reflow those as well, just to be safe. One thing I noticed when I was looking on the analog board is that this group of capacitors is leaking everywhere, so we're gonna have to replace those.
However, unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna only have to replace those capacitors. There's several more problems with the analog board. One of those is that the anode cup itself, the clip, accidentally popped off somehow at some point, and we still have to find a screw and a way to secure that on, so that's gonna suck too. Alright, so for now, I think this is going to be the end of part 1 of this Macintosh episode. At least at this point, we've gotten the case pieces and... Oh, I forgot about those screws. Shoot, anyway. I'll go ahead and take the screws out first, but we've at least now at this point gotten the case pieces, crap, where'd that one go, into good cosmetic condition. They look almost original now. There are still a few scuffs I'm probably going to come back and get off camera, but we have this entire assembly looking fantastic. Actually, it turned out way better than I thought it would. But anyway, yeah, so we've gotten the case done. We've cleaned up the rust on this bracket here, as you can see. There's still a bit of oxidized metal there, but that should be fine. And, yeah, our only remaining troubles now are going to be on the analog board and probably recapping the logic board eventually, because these caps are probably even more likely to leak than the ones on here, this area. So hopefully, I'm hoping that this logic board is in a good enough condition, or analog board is in good enough condition to at least test to make sure that the system will boot up and display an image on our new CRT. But I am not counting on it. I'm probably going to have to buy a new one because I don't know if even recapping this will get this back into working condition as of the anode cup clip came out, so we'll have to fix that too. But anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this episode, and hopefully I will get to see this machine work in the next episode for the first time since I've owned the machine. And I've owned this machine for 3 years now, so I've never seen it boot. So I'm looking forward to that. The parts are coming soon, and hopefully I'll have part 2 out soon. So anyway, I'd like to thank you all for watching. However, there's just one more thing I have to mention. Just hang on there for a few more seconds. I am starting a channel Discord server, so if any of you want to join, the link, I believe, if I don't forget, will be down in the description of this video. So Thanks for watching, and if you're new to this channel, then please subscribe. I really would appreciate your support. We just passed 40 subscribers yesterday, so I'm very excited about that. We're already getting close to halfway to 100, which is my goal by the end of the year, is to hit 100 subscribers, which I'm sure we can accomplish. So anyway, thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.